School was buzzing, or at least it felt like it was. 14th of January 2019. Today was the day where thousands of hopeful students would find out whether they'd managed to win a place at Cambridge University. But for me, it wasn't just whether I'd managed to get into Cambridge, but also whether I'd managed to get into Cambridge Medical School, and in doing so, make all my hard work over the previous year worth it. Dozens of us eagerly awaited the news, checking our phones at every opportunity. As some of my friends started to receive news, I started to wonder whether my lack of news was an indication of the news to come, becoming more and more anxious in the process. And at 11:11 a.m., the email came. Desperately hoping to find an inch of privacy in a busy school, I ran to the sixth form boys' toilets and locked myself in a small toilet cubicle. And I opened up my phone. Let's rewind, back to September 2017. Without any meaningful plans for university after having started sixth form, my mum strongly encouraged me to go to a medical school conference that her friend sent her. After this, I decided I'd go along with it and that I would pursue a medical degree. And so I threw myself into various things in the pursuit of this. First, pursuing medicine at a top university, but over time, this developed into the goal of getting into medicine at Cambridge University specifically. I joined the medics elective at my school. I joined the medics society, even trying to launch a bid for presidency, which sadly failed. I joined a couple of schemes outside of school for students interested in science careers or in getting into Oxbridge, being partnered with mentors from top universities and attending coaching sessions in my own time. I went to lectures at universities and institutes in my spare time. I did volunteering weekly at a local charity, knowing how important this was to medical school applications. I did work experience in a hospital and in a mental health service, and I even managed to find time to do a biology summer school at Cambridge. So then flick forward to the end of 2018, I find myself in the Cambridge interviews. They went okay, decent, not fantastic, but good enough, I hoped, that I would get in. So back to January 2019. The 14th of January 2019 was supposed to be my day of reckoning. It was supposed to be the day where I proved I was just as good as those from a similar background as me who had managed to get into Cambridge, where I proved those who hadn't previously regarded me as much that I was actually a special student myself, where I proved to teachers, to other students that I was a top guy, where I proved to my family that my hard work was not in vain. Where I showed that the previous disappointments over my time in sixth form, whether that be my failed sports career, whether that be my failure to become a senior prefect, were all worth it for this moment. And so, as I stood in that small toilet cubicle and opened the email, I read, "We regret to inform you that your application has been unsuccessful." At that point, I just felt devastation. It was unbelievable. I hadn't even considered the possibility of not getting in, or perhaps I refused to consider that that was even a possibility in itself. And in some senses, it felt like someone died, or at least my dream had died. Whilst I saw friends celebrating and living life as normal, for me, things felt like they'd gone from colour to black and white, and everything was a bit of a haze. And at the end of the day, after getting through the numerous, "sorry guys, I didn't get in, I bought myself a pizza, but it didn't take away the pain that I felt. Shortly afterwards, my dad asked me if I wanted to go for brunch. And this was unusual. Nigerian dads, they don't really often go to brunch. And so I thought something was up. I thought maybe I've got another sibling coming along the way. And so shortly after some deliberations and catch up and chit chat, my dad shared with me his belief that medicine was not God's plan for me. And this was incredibly freeing for me. My dad had been a big supporter of me doing medicine, had strongly encouraged it. So for him to come and say that meant that the chains fell off. I felt like I didn't need to prove myself. I felt like the family pressure that had been implicit in my heart before was lifted to some degree. It helped me see how much an idol I'd made out of medicine at Cambridge, and it helped me see how much trust I'd put in myself and my own performance and my own abilities, as opposed to trusting in God. And so after this, I spent some time praying, and I was confident that what he said was true, that God did not want me to do medicine. And so after some time of thinking about this, I shared this with those close to me, friends at school, family, others around me who knew how much I'd put into the medical applications. And actually, at this time, I was met with some strong opposition. People said mean things about me, challenged my motives, but actually, it showed me just how much I'd cared about people's opinions, about the praise of man beforehand, and showed me how much more I needed to lean on God. And this caused me to grow in confidence. I felt like though the world was against me, God was on my side. And actually, the challenges just made me grow, made me stronger, made me more confident, made me ready to take hold of that which God had for me. And I was so confident about this that though I knew I was lucky to receive 2 medical school offers, I rejected them, knowing that this was not the Lord's will for me. This must have seemed crazy to a lot of people, my mum definitely included, and even myself a few months ago, but I knew it was what I had to do. Fear of man will prove to be a snare, but whoever trusts in the Lord is kept safe. While the noise around me questioned my decision not to do medicine, God showed me that I needed to put my trust in him. Whereas before I'd put so much stock into worldly success and the praise of people around me, God showed me I needed to put my value in what he says about me. God showed me that I needed to trust in the God who has good plans for those who follow him. And whilst it's not always been easy, it's been a beautiful journey ever since.